past. We'll see if no, the Tesla is going to come in. Okay, because in history-wise, from what I'm seeing here, it is a perfect win record for Wess. It is 5-0 in favor of Wess over SAC. And to be fair, that happens to a lot of people who go up against Wess in general. But SAC has also been looking phenomenal on the Asuri today. And if I remember correctly, the person who put Wess in the elimination side was... Actually, it was used. Never mind. So it was not. I thought it was one of the higher seats. So actually, you got set down a little early. But the way that the Tescas have been playing today, can't be too comfortable.
Yeah, you can never sleep against a Tesca, and Wess's Tesca has been different from the Tescas we saw over in the EU region because he's been bringing out a lot more gauntlet play. He has not been 90% boots with that little bit of gauntlets. Instead, he's been bringing out about a good 50-50 ratio of some gauntlet play going over to the boots. And here's the side sig.
Showcasing that right there. I'm so glad you built up that segue perfectly for it because that's exactly what he's been using so much more than the other ones. We saw the occasional jump scare side sig from like Machete earlier, but this has been perfectly executed by Wess on those gauntlets.
And now he's covering that corner. SAC does get past. You see him kind of fake out Wess a little bit there. Not sure if he thought he was close enough to pick up the sword, but either way, just kind of doing some tricky movement. But Wess into the active input side air into the neutral light. Side light just to keep this corner again. Wess is just kicking SAC every time he gets close.
Really was. Such a well-placed D-light off the side of the ledge. Just like, I know you're going to poke. I think that boots are one of the best options to rip people off the ledge compared to everything else, and also just sending them way out of here. Ground pound coming through. Wess with a huge lead right now.
Yeah, he took off the boots for that ground pound. Like, he wanted to show him the toes on that, but SAC does get the recovery. He is going to deny the 3-stock. Wess going to come in. I believe his next weapon should be the boots because I think he threw away those gauntlets. Nope, it's going to be the gauntlets.
It's going to be the gauntlets. Going to throw hands instead. I mean, look at the... I feel like SAC is just heavily second-guessing anything that he could do to approach right now because he's been punished so heavily for it. Just straight up jumping there. And finally, okay, there you go. Gets a 3-piece out of it. Starting to chase. Backs off a little bit, but I feel like SAC has to almost stop second-guessing every time he gets that neutral light.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Both of them, again, this is something that's like kind of symptomatic of these string-heavy weapons, is game one, they're both doing this thing where they'll like poke and then do nothing, right? Like just there, Wess gets a hit and then he's like, all right, let's see how you react out of it, because he's trying to hope that you'll start falling for these same reaction options so that you can capitalize in game 2, game 3. But right now, I think SAC needs to just go for the big play. Just bet on something and then see what happens.
Yeah, because that's what works so well for SAC all the way up to this point. Because SAC's guitar play has been phenomenal all the way up to this day. So this is like the one time where it seems like he's kind of slowing down a little bit. But that's also easier said than done than somebody who has a huge win record against you. Misses the ground pound, though, on the wall touch. That was almost about to be an even game.
Wess went a little too low on that one. SAC holding that wall, denies the stock.
Now SAC has a chance here. Hasn't taken too much damage on this last one, so this isn't a big opportunity here for SAC to actually take the first game. And there we go, going for double recovery, just kind of building up, and you can see the confidence starting to build.
Yeah, SAC, I mean, the fact that he brought this one even remotely back has got to help with his confidence, because if this was a 3-stock, that would have been brutal going into the next couple games. But he's going in onto Wess, hits the recovery, almost going to close this one out ahead of Wess, but Wess, he's still got those boots, the weapon that so many people are confident in.
Yeah, it seems like he's getting ready to shift over towards the gauntlets potentially in a second, but gets denied the weapon, so he's got to play without it for a little bit. And I mean, you're right, considering that this looked like what was about to be a 3-stock a little while ago, that Sair will make it that much closer as it just is. And yeah, unbelievable for sure. That was such a big deficit that SAC brought all the way back. Built up a lot more confidence as the game went on and just started to pull the trigger on some of those reads, like the double recovery earlier, and it just kept going. That was so impressive.
Yeah, the reverse 3-stock, definitely off the back of the guitars. You can see it in the stats. 446 damage put out from the guitars, 76 on the sword in hand, which, I mean, that's kind of been the name of the game for the Asuris today. It's like, if you want to play guitars, apparently you got to be playing that Asuri.
Exactly. The damage built up with the guitars, and you mentioned before, not the easiest weapon to get consistent KOs on outside of going for that D-Sig, going for the recovery plays. When you get that sword back out, you don't need to do much with it. You just need to get that D-Light recovery, and that's it.
Yeah, that's generally been the game plan of the Asuris out there, but he throws away that sword, so he's likely going to just be looking for those recoveries and D6s to finish off this stock of Wess. Once Wess gets more damaged, Wess has a weapon on the feet, but he's just not finding hits onto SAC.
Yeah, Wess has barely had any time to actually touch grass. He's been in the air for quite some time right now. Weapons also way too good. I mean, you said it before. He's been way more heavily favoring the gauntlets, and that's kind of what we're seeing again.
Yeah, he's over to the gauntlets. Good denial. Yeah, SAC went really high on that one, but still didn't touch the wall, didn't touch the stage, so he didn't have the movement to get back up, and he knew it. You saw him kind of just drifting off into the distance.
Here comes Wess, catching the dodge read with the Sarah once again. Looking for maybe another one, but didn't really feel too comfortable trying to overextend. Don't put yourself off stage when you're already building up the damage.
Yeah, I mean, he got a nice extra hit on that one. Can't blame him for being like, all right, I'm going to take that damage and walk away. But SAC does find that recovery off the neutralite, just immediately pulls the trigger on that one, and he's going to be sticking with the Katars again.
Yeah, right now, I actually don't even have a true answer to what I'd like to see Wess stay on, because I feel like the gauntlets have been fine, but when Wess has gotten the boots going, it's led to so much more damage, I think, overall. Oh. That said, though, the side sig, there it goes again. It has been so good for Wess all day as he gets another stock with it.
I mean, at the end of the day, what I want is for Wess to stick with a weapon, right? Like, what? Okay.
Ooh, this one.
This one. That's what I meant.
This one right here.
When I say a weapon, I mean boots, obviously.
They're looking rather shiny, looking rather sparkly and clean, and you should keep you. Oh, never mind. The Katars do not like them. They're scuffing up the boots very bad. Oh my God.
Don't let him do it again. The reversal potential from SAC, like you can't count him out. We talk about how you can't count Wess out with the boots. You cannot count SAC out, but right now, SAC is the one on that final stock. Not in the red though, so he's definitely got some room to play a little extra aggressive.
Exactly. SAC can definitely try to walk him over towards the corner, try and get one of those recovery reads. But now the sword is out, so we're pretty much at that. We're at that range where D-Light recovery, or actually D-Light Sarah as well on the side, will take him out. D-Light recovery will do the job though, as he gets himself once again the last stock.
No, but he's done it. He's done it in a much tougher position before. We'll see if he can do it again. Wess back to the boots. Not really in position for a downlight side air. It's not going to do much there. Just give him the stage control. SAC goes high. Down sig whips him back. Wess utilizing these active input sigs to throw people the way that he wants to, and he's going to take a game.
Very well done, too. That's the first time he's done that from that position. Every time he's ever made that attempt on that D-sig before, it was usually off of a dodge read, which we've seen most people trying to do throughout the day. But that one, from a spot that was relatively poor for him in terms of where he wanted to stand up against the wall, doesn't matter, though. He's taken no hits prior to that moment, so you can afford to take a trade there at worst, and that actually just gets the whole thing done and gets the game.
It's such an interesting option for him to go for that down sig there, because, like, almost every time we've seen a Tesca go for that option, it's to go for that forward kick, that spiral into the bounce. But Wess, I mean, of course, very intelligently is like, well, I can also just throw this behind me, and then I'll just do that and then get the stop.
Having the option to just reposition people where you want on both weapons with that signature hit is so good. And here's Wess once again starting things off with the gauntlets. If the gauntlets pick up a ton in this game, SAC is in for trouble because he was able to kind of shut down the gauntlets a bit more last game.
Well, Wess, he's got the boots. We saw him get a nice string on the boots towards the tail end of game number 2. Caught the dodge, didn't get more after that though. The recovery just a little late.
SAC just trying to catch a landing here. The soft platform just kind of moving away, allowing us a landing option for Wess there. Wess looking to get some more damage. Of course, like you said, nothing really to go too vertical on, but just to get that extra bit of damage going with that D6, send them back down and send them over to the right.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to just keep the threat going. Just keep hitting the opponent.
Anything to make them scared, too. Like, I feel like if you can make the Qatar player stop and slow down and also make them never feel like they could comfortably dare towards you in those spots, you're already winning half the battle.
Yeah, the more that you make your opponent think, then the better you're going to be doing. But SAC got the sword in hand, got that extra range, got the bounces, and the downlight recovery off the soft platform gives SAC the stock advantage.
Very good patience, too. Waited for the Sarah. It's like, all right, look, I know you're going to burn something. I don't know what, but you're going to burn something before you come back down. As soon as he saw it, instant capitalization. Not too much health here, and reverses it again, that time from a better position, and knew he was going to jump around.
Yeah, he did it the way that he's been doing those slide charges. I think he did it in his matchup against Laura's where he was like slide charging really deep, but he pulled it early, and that actually kind of got him back onto the stage to catch that movement of SAC.
Yeah, that is that's actually something to put in a notebook, to be honest. That was a really good option at ledge. But very even game right now. Go ahead and get the line up to Sarah and pushing him back off once again. He hasn't really gone further off, mostly because he wants to give respect to sword recovery in there, which he continues to do well.
Yeah, you're not seeing him go for those big commits with the active input, that spiral kick on that side air. Nair into nothing from Wess. He's still trying to find that one reaction off of SAC.
Lights here, SAC starting to build up some damage here. Extremely even game at the moment, but here comes Wess again, going for the big play. Decided to go for the side sig, but SAC just barely sneaking right under it.
That was a great reaction from SAC into that just jump ground pound to punish that side sig. Wess has been kind of throwing those out a little extra this time in game number 3, and so far they're not quite hitting on SAC.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it things where it was always working before, and now all of a sudden it's not. He has to be careful, but good ground pound punish right there. And now SAC, I think this is the first lead he's had on last stock, correct?
Yeah, going into the final stocks. He's had a lead before in their set, but going into the final stocks, this might be the first lead SAC has had. Neutral air comes out from Wess, though.
Not going to get hit by the recovery either, but of course they have to watch out for that potential of the GCD light recovery or a side light recovery read pretty soon. Does he get it? Yeah, just goes right for it. Doesn't waste any single time at all. And now it's, again, even though this is Wess's first time being behind on last stock, we're still in the same position. Last stock, very small differential.
Yeah, basically even. Wess gets that gravity cancel side light, but SAC went low, so the recovery not going to do anything here.
Both of them just swinging, but completely opposite directions. Meanwhile, though, SAC getting so much more out of that. Whiffed one way and then got a solid 5-piece and still going here with the neutral lights.
There was a ref blowing a whistle because that was a double dribble the way that he was playing with Wess. But downlight side air, and SAC is up 2-1.
Would have been nice to know that the ref was actually paying attention to that call right there, too, compared to maybe some other things that didn't. But here in this game, SAC looked so good, and he has now lined up what could be his first potential W here against Wess. Now, that is not the easiest thing just to call, but just looking, I didn't even notice this part. In that 5-0 record that Wess has over SAC, that was 13 games to 1. So there was only one individual game taken up to this point, and we already see 2 taken here today. SAC is playing on a very different level, and it's been really impressive to watch. What do you think Wess is going to do to try and answer back? Because I feel like the gauntlets, the main thing that worked was that side sig, and you pointed it out right on cue. It was not really finding its mark this time.
I think the hard thing for Wess is it's not as simple as like, oh, change the game plan, oh, lean to a single weapon or anything like that. Because Wess has been doing a really good job of cycling his weapons, he just hasn't been finding the most consistent momentum on his weapons, right? So the answer for me is he's got to get those reads, those bigger reads. He needs to do more than just nair and watch the opponent.
That's a very good point, actually, because when you think back to the other Tescas that were doing so well this weekend so far, even that one time we saw Knees pull it out, they were getting 4 to 5 hit strings usually off of each time they got something started with the boots. I think we've only really been seeing Wess get maybe 2 to 3 at most. You got to build that up if you want to be able to take this game.
Yeah, but right now he's playing a little bit behind. Goes for the wake up and SAC with the punish. SAC looking to put this one away and get his first ever W over Wess. And Wess, he's worried he might not be able to come to the Royale right now.
I'm telling you right now, if you get a W on someone like that who you've never beaten before in a position that's leading to a qualifier in the finals, like the final 3 position for championship, that might not bode very well for Yuzu who's waiting in the elimination finals, because SAC is going to be running extremely hot as he's currently just running all over Wess. The weapon literally stopped him from what could have been something worse.
Yeah, Wess is definitely thanking his lucky stars that that weapon bounced him down and kind of negated a lot of that force direction off of that signature. Wess doesn't hit the neutral light, but SAC got a little happy there, started to go for the down air and didn't get the wall touch, but still, Wess is so far behind, he cannot relax.
Answer Revenge KO right back at Bruh, indeed. It seems like the Asuri is just the counter pick option right now to the Wess Tesca. Somebody mentioned it earlier today, and they were so right, as he has been pretty lost on what to do, and he's going to get back on with that Sair just barely.
Yeah, I mean, the Qatars have definitely been picking apart Wess's Tesca today. SAC, though, just holding this corner. He's playing it smart and safe. He knows that he is 1 stock away from closing this set out, and Wess is finding no momentum again.
He's kind of just swinging at a disadvantage for a moment, hoping something will find its mark. And neutral lights will at least give him a momentary relief, but that momentary relief pretty much disappearing quickly. I like that, though.
No.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wess has started to pick it up. I'm upset. That didn't KO, to be honest.
Oh, that would have been such a highlight play. He got so much damage there, but SAC coming back. Punish opportunity goes. That's got to be a misinput. That should have been a jump, chase, dodge, recovery.
Yeah, I think that was 100% misinput as well. Weapon toss over does get him a good position. No reason to try and ground pound. You're too far behind in damage to put yourself off stage. Both of them missing their signatures, though. And Wess now being forced to have to go back over to the boots. That's if he even gets them.
No, he will get the recovery. Final opportunity here. Will this be a game 5 or will this be a W for SAC? And Wess knows his gauntlets have been looking a little bit better in this game. SAC with a wake up neutral air.
Yeah, especially after that previous string, and Dave is still going right now, getting neutralized, getting the side light, nothing really following up afterwards, but Wess is waking up exactly where you needed it, but he's only essentially got one more mistake he can make.
Here's the neutral light, doesn't hit the recovery. SAC is getting so many openers, the Nair almost does it. One hit for SAC. Can Wess deny it? The recovery doesn't hit. Wess doesn't have a punish, though.
Doesn't really have many options left, like we said. One good recovery takes it out. One Sarah at this point also takes it out. So SAC just looking for that mistake.
Oh!
Neutralize might be it, and that is, in fact, going to be it as SAC takes out that very first massively elusive W that he's tried so many times before, but will get that win here over Wess to move into Elimination Finals.
He had so much momentum building finally. His gauntlets started to come alive. He started to get those hits, those punishes, but it was just a little too late. There was so much damage built up that the one neutralite SAC did, the 14 damage he did with his sword, was enough to finish that one out. Incredible
Play from SAC being able to get that elusive W. Again, it is very difficult to do that over time. And, we bring it up every time, so eventually it's going to happen. But thinking about this past year in general, how many people I remember seeing stat-wise